tonight. Ahead of tomorrow's provincial budget, CUPE is raising concerns about staff shortages and the amount of money the province is spending on private nurses in rural areas. Also, a CBC special feature. We go on a ride along with the new security force at James Smith Cree Nation. Plus, the fallout continues around the Experience Regina rebranding campaign.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, March 21st, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. Saskatchewan's finance minister is getting ready for tomorrow's budget. Today, she revealed there won't be any tax hikes or tax cuts. She also promised some major health spending. The Canadian Union of Public Employees says money needs to go to public health care workers and not private contractors. Laura Sharpaletti explains.
On the eve of the provincial budget, Saskatchewan's finance minister posed for a photo op and dropped some hints.
Very strong and aggressive health budget to address the pressures that we are all hearing in health.
This comes as CUPE revealed the province has spent at least $730,000 on private healthcare staffing in the Prairie North region. That includes North Battleford and Meadow Lake. The money was spent specifically on licensed practical nurses. CUPE got this information by filing a transparency grievance with the SHA. CUPE says hiring contract workers is not the answer to dealing with Saskatchewan's healthcare labor shortage.
Well, the problem here is privatization costs more money. It's costing the healthcare system a lot more money. And also what is happening, you are taking the trained professionals in the public system.
The government of Saskatchewan says the SHA has 225 contract workers deployed across the province.
We want to make sure that we have enough permanently funded full-time staff to nurses in our facilities across Saskatchewan. We're starting to do that, by making these enhancements as part of our action plan that we launched back in September.
Jallo says morale is low among nurses in rural areas because they get paid less than contract workers. Contract workers get paid $3 to $7 more, plus accommodations and meal allowances. The Minister of Rural and Remote Health says private traveling nurses are being used by multiple provinces with healthcare shortages.
We launched a $50,000 up to $50,000 recruitment incentive this past September for a number of health designations in areas across this province, particularly rural and remote areas.
CUPE says it hopes to see funding for more healthcare retention efforts in tomorrow's budget. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
Registered psychiatric nurses are warning about a looming shortage in a big way. They've launched a billboard campaign to raise awareness. The signs show people in distress and looking for help. The Registered Psychiatric Nurses Association says half of its members are eligible to retire, but there aren't enough new nurses being trained to replace them. Psych nurses want 40 new education spots, and the association is hoping money will support that in tomorrow's budget.
Hopefully tomorrow we can hear news that we have the extra 40 seats that we're asking for and that those can start immediately in September with our program out of Saskatchewan Polytechnic and our brokered program out of North Battleford. That simply is the solution, is we need more graduates because we know people want to be psychiatric nurses in Saskatchewan.
Registered psychiatric nurses are trained to assess and treat mental illnesses. The association says there's a high demand from the opioid crisis and the pandemic. The fallout continues from the botched rebrand of tourism in Regina. Ward 1 City Councilor Cheryl Stadnichuk is pushing for a special council meeting to look into the actions of Experience Regina. Others say it's time to move forward. Last week, the tourism organization revealed its new name and launched a social media campaign using slogans that many found offensive, including "Show me your Regina" and "The city that rhymes with fun." Backlash grew over the weekend, and Experience Regina issued an apology on Sunday.
It is not enough. We need to understand what the decision-making process was, who was involved, who made the ultimate decision, who approved it, was anyone from City Council or the Mayor involved. We just need to understand that so that we can ensure that there is more accountability.
People need to own the fact that either they knew about it and they thought it was funny, or, take ownership of the decisions that you've made. But I don't think that we need to personally, dwell on it and point fingers and make it more of an us versus them thing. I think that it's, again, that matter of stepping forward and understanding that mistakes were made and that we can, we are better together. So bringing more people to the table.
The advertising agency involved issued a statement today. Brown Communications Group says, quote, "We are very proud of our work on the new logo and manifesto. However, we haven't had any involvement in the unofficial slogans that are being shared on social media." The community of James Smith Cree Nation has a new security force, but for many, it's not enough. 6 months ago, Miles Sanderson went on a stabbing rampage, the deadliest in Canadian history. People are still shaken, still traumatized. And as Olivia Stefanovich reports, there are real fears it could all happen again.
Anyone north?
Negative.
Unit 4, going north.
10-4, Unit 4.
Past midnight in James Smith Cree Nation, Stuart Head spots trouble behind the band office.
4 in the car, 3 are drunk. The driver sober.
He's on patrol with the Saskatchewan First Nations new security team.
This truck it has its own beacon lights.
Since September 4th, the band has paid for more than 24 people to watch over the community. They look like police, but they're unarmed. Just 6 months ago, 11 people were stabbed to death, 17 more injured by community member Miles Sanderson, before he died too. We see another group gathered, but have to turn away.
There's some people there?
We're not going that way.
Why is that?
Because they'll come after us. That's a big group that's a party over there.
Okay.
Sanderson's rampage haunts the streets and every home.
All right, so this is the door that he kicked in. Well,
the Burns family still feels vulnerable.
Okay, so it's still loose here.
Yes, yeah. Actually, it doesn't even lock at all. Just walk in. It's just an ugly reminder.
Unnerving, especially for her mom, Joyce, one of the survivors.
Okay. Stabbed me on my arm, my neck. And when he hit me stabbed me in my abdomen, that's when I fell.
She believes she's only alive today because her husband, Earl Burns Sr., sacrificed his final breaths to distract Sanderson.
What's the hardest part for you?
Getting up from the bedroom or leaving the house. Days there where I don't even want to leave the house.
The shadow of the early September morning attack still darkens their day-to-day.
I can't even explain that. The dreams and the flashbacks come and go, and this whole thing the grief just comes in waves.
Sierra Twist lost her dad, Christian Head, who left behind 20 grandchildren.
My dad taught us how to live life with him, but he didn't teach us how to live life without him.
This is my unit, Unit 1. There's
Stuart Head is Sierra's uncle. He returned to James Smith to make things right.
Do you think of your brother when you drive out here?
Yeah, a lot.
What do you think of?
I live in his house. Every morning, where he was laying dead, I sit there on the floor. I say a little prayer and then away I go. All these tracks you see going in the ditch, these are all drunk drivers.
Since the RCMP are usually at least an hour away, Head and his team are the first on scene to any emergency. The problem is they have no training, no powers.
I talk with RCMP. I ask questions like, Can we take the keys out? No, you can't. Well, why not? They're drunk. How about if I bump the vehicle that they're drunk driving in? Would I be able to do that and call in a car accident? You can't do that.
That must be frustrating to get all these no's.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
I could be saving a life. Just keeping an eye on them, and they know it.
They're also putting their own lives on the line.
They only come out at night.
That morning, the RCMP arrested a man for pointing a BB gun at a security officer. Another scare for Head and his team, who had just been threatened.
He said he was going to kill his whole family, his wife, and all of the security, and he was going to break Miles Sanderson's record.
What worries you the most?
Another incident like September 4th. And we're thinking it's going to happen, and it's probably going to involve firearms.
I am worried that could happen again, and if it did happen again, would it be worse than what it was? Every night we make sure, you know, certain things are done within our own home, like that our doors are locked, that the curtains are closed, and those are like things that is our reality now.
Marge Wichahan says the counselors she works with at the health clinic are trying to calm nerves.
I don't think that our wellness team is big enough in the numbers, I guess, to be able to support the amount of that's needed in the community, like the trauma, the mental health.
Inside the council chambers, a state of emergency remains in place.
This is our command post from September 4th.
Why have you kept this up here?
That's a good question, and you know, every time I look at it, it always reminds me of the people that, you know, that we lost.
But Chief Wally Burns of James Smith Cree Nation tries to keep an eye on hope, fueled by people who suffered their own tragedy.
Where are these from?
The Hearts on the Wall are from Humboldt, and I'm very happy, you know, that for their sympathy. The pain is real, the emotions are high, and even just one, you know, slam of a door, just, you know, a lot of us just get scared. But, you know, I'd rather combat the heavy drugs.
He knows that will require the community's own police force, something he wants to see in place within the year.
I think it'll make a big difference. I like how other First Nations protect their nations. They run out the drug dealers.
As another 12-hour shift begins for Stuart Head, he worries about what the night could bring.
We're seeing too many people dying out here. I myself, all my friends my age are all dead. Car accidents, suicides, drug overdoses, and it's really hard to see the damage that this all these drugs brings and alcohol brings here. It is really, really hard.
All he can do is be there to help.
And me, I love all my people here. Every damn one of them.
Facing danger with nothing more than a truck, a radio, and a flashlight. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, James Smith Cree Nation.
It seems like Mother Nature is really not getting the message that it's spring. The least she can do is make it sunny if it's going to be cold out there. We did have some brief moments of sunshine today, but for the most part, this is how things looked in Regina. So what's up for the rest of the week? Ethan will be by after the break with your answer. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by It's March. It's madness. at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now with a look at your forecast. It's kind of yucky out there again today.
Yeah, we saw sunshine to start the day here in Regina, and then it clouded over. Some portions of Saskatchewan actually seeing some significant snowfall overnight as well. In Isle La Crosse, actually picking up around 8.5 centimeters, according to a report from the Community Collaborative Rain, Hail and Snow Network volunteer reports there. In fact, that's where all these numbers come from. Holbein, just northwest of Prince Albert, picking up about 4 centimeters, and Prince Albert yourselves and Emma Lake, about 2 to 2.5 centimeters there. But that system, which was moving through the northern grain belt and portions of the Churchill region, now has moved out. Just a little bit of snowfall around the Saskatoon area in its wake. But again, increasing cloudiness for a lot of us. That is continuing to move in as we head through the afternoon and the evening. Pretty uniform temperatures, though, throughout the province this afternoon, really kind of in that -5 to -10 range. Now getting closer to the -10 mark, especially in south and central Saskatchewan, including in Regina and Moose Jaw, where we're right around -9 right now. Saskatoon and Wynyard clocking in at -8. A little bit warmer actually in east central Saskatchewan. Hudson Bay getting around -2, not usually the warm spot on our map. Tonight we are looking for that cloud cover to stick around. Some flurries and snowfall possible in south and central regions. And then heading into tomorrow afternoon, it looks like we will see things start to clear out a little bit. I think south and central going to see some clearing, maybe some light flurries on the eastern side of the province. And then really as we get into Thursday, that's when we see a lot of sunshine, widespread clearing, really only the far north, which could see a bit of snowfall through the day on Thursday. Now, a bit of a temperature inversion. We're seeing the warmer air as you go a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, and a really stagnant pattern in our atmosphere, which really isn't moving things. And that means that we could see some fog once again, pretty widespread through south and central tonight. And that is dropping air quality just a bit. In fact, right now it's at a moderate level in Swift Current, which means that if you are particularly sensitive or have medical issues, you may be a little more susceptible to the poor air quality out there. But around a 3 to 4 for a lot of areas, but not as bad as they're seeing in Alberta, especially around Edmonton. Wind's going to pick up a little bit in west central Saskatchewan tomorrow, and a little bit again in the south on Thursday. But again, as this really stagnant pattern stays in place, we're not going to be seeing winds pick up too much. That pattern is going to change going into Thursday, though, when we see that clearing, a little bit of a ridge building into the upper atmosphere. Temperature is going to warm up, and then things kind of staying that way as we head into the weekend. And you'll see that warm up here in our 7-day forecast for Regina. Normal this time of year, around 3 degrees. We'll just barely get to that on Thursday. But again, nice sunshine on Thursday is what I think we'll see. Maybe a little bit of cloud cover for Saturday, Sunday, but temperature staying a little bit warmer, and that cloud cover continuing to be a theme into the beginning of next week. And Saskatoon looking for a high of -7 tomorrow. Again, much below seasonal for this time of year. And then you'll enjoy that warm up, though, but riding a bit of a temperature roller coaster here and there through the next few days. Getting out of the double digits in terms of our daytime highs, Sam, but those overnight lows still staying pretty chilly.
You know, you say roller coaster, but daytime-wise, it's a lot less topsy. There's no loop-de-loops.
Yes, no, this is a nice straight merry-go-round ride here.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
A giant blob of seaweed, more than double the width of the United States, is headed for Florida's shores. It's threatening to dump large piles of smelly brown seaweed on Florida's beaches. The massive blooms aren't new, but the size is. It's approximately 8,000 kilometers wide. We'll be back after the break. Ottawa has banned TikTok from all federal devices based on concerns about its link to China. But the feds have not pulled all its advertising from the popular social media app. Some tech experts argue that's problematic. Sophia Harris reports.
Disinformation is false information.
A federal government public awareness campaign running on TikTok.
Get practical tips to identify disinformation at canada.ca/disinformation.
For some, it may seem surprising because Ottawa has blocked the app from all government devices over security concerns. The app's owner, ByteDance, is based in China, and the fear is China could force the company to share user data. But the federal government says it's still advertising on TikTok for things like emergency preparedness and armed forces recruitment because a third party posts the ads, so no government devices are involved.
I know your government announced.
After announcing the device ban, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said people might consider dropping TikTok.
I suspect many Canadians, from businesses to private individuals, will reflect on the security of their own data and perhaps make choices in consequence.
But some experts argue Ottawa is sending Canadians a contradictory message by continuing to advertise on TikTok.
It seems a little bit like a double standard to me to say, well, it's too dangerous for any of our employees to have, but it's okay for reaching teenagers.
I think it's going to be disappointing.
This public policy expert says Ottawa's continued ad campaigns look like an endorsement of TikTok.
I don't think it's the right use of tax dollars if we are in fact so newly serious and cautious about this one app.
Last year, Ottawa spent $1.7 million advertising on TikTok for things like voter registration awareness.
You got to understand who has control, what data you're giving it.
This tech expert says the government is smart to continue advertising on the popular app.
It's still a powerful platform. You do need to use these communication tools and platforms to reach your target demographics.
All provinces have also banned TikTok from government devices. Only Saskatchewan and BC say they're still advertising on the app. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
You can now track your passport application online. The federal social development minister unveiled a new system that will free up more passports or more staff to process passports.
Starting today, if you have applied for a passport and provided your email address, you'll be able to check the status of the application at canada.ca/passport-status.
It's a self-serve tool that will let applicants check the status of their application online. Gould says processing delays have been virtually eliminated and that 99% of them are now completed on time. The pandemic had led to a lull in passport applications, but demand skyrocketed when restrictions began lifting. And Ethan's back with one last look at your weather.
And starting the morning, mostly cloudy in Regina, Sam. -14, not much of a wind chill, though. Nice light northwest winds. We head into the afternoon, we will get some clearing through Regina and southern Saskatchewan. Winds going to stay light, temperature around -8. And in Saskatoon, starting basically identically, same to Regina, around -14. As we get to the afternoon, though, I think the cloud cover going to be sticking around a little bit longer. Mostly cloudy, but again, you're enjoying those nice light winds. Today was Nowruz, the Persian New Year. Tomorrow, the first day of Ramadan. And if you are celebrating in Regina or Saskatoon for a meal tomorrow, not too bad, -7 with mostly cloudy conditions. And so, Sam, a Ramadan Mubarak to those who celebrate, and we hope you have a great month.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And before we leave you tonight, some words of inspiration from former Humboldt Bronco Ryan Stresnitsky. The 24-year-old hockey player was paralyzed from the chest down in that deadly bus crash 5 years ago, but he was quick to get back on the ice and set his sights on making the national sledge hockey team. He trains 5 days a week, both on and off the ice, and Stresnitsky just hit a major milestone on that journey last month. He was invited to attend Team Canada's training camp in Montreal.
My entire life has been goal setting, and I kind of go by the motto, never satisfied. So, if I can make that roster spot, then I work towards possibly winning a gold medal. And from there, just building more and more goals and continuing to show to myself and to show the people around me that, no matter the situation that you're in, you're more than capable of achieving your goals.
Stresnitsky hopes to crack the final roster and represent Canada at the Winter Paralympics in Italy in 2026. We'll certainly be watching. That is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to CBC Saskatchewan's YouTube channel. Glenn, Reed, and Ethan will be back with more local news and weather tonight at 11. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.